Howdy and welcome back to Clown School. I'll be your mentor today as I am perfect for the job. My next video is going to take a bit too long to get out, so I'm just going to talk about something really topical. It came out this month, and in the comments of my YouTube animation video, I had somebody asking me to talk about it. And I almost didn't, but I figured that since I won't have another video out for maybe a week or two, I may as well. Be warned, I will be giving opinions in this video. If you don't want to hear something you might not agree with, don't stick around. That being said, if you do have differing opinions, let me know in the comments. As long as you're chill about it. This is a video about a cartoon on the internet. There's really no need to be super serious. Anyway, let's get into it. The Amazing Digital Circus is a pilot released to YouTube on October 31st, 2023. It was made by Glitch Productions, who I'll talk about in a second, but was conceived, directed, and written by Gooseworx. She's been making music and animated content for years, and I think the collab between her and Glitch works out pretty damn well. The Glitch channel has been active for over 3 years, but the company has had a pretty big history well before that. They also created the animated series Murder Drones, which a couple of people also told me about. I still haven't watched it yet. If you want to see a full video on it, let me know. But otherwise, I'll just wait for it to make its way through my backlog of stuff to watch. Well, without further ado, let's get into the actual pilot. It begins with an intro that fades from these PS1 looking graphics to the more typical Glitch style. I actually really like the game look they had going. I kinda wish they held on to that for a bit longer in the intro because I completely missed it when I watched it for the first time. In the circus, we meet Kane the ringleader and Bubble, the ghost of a dead chain shop. Not actually, but come on. They introduce Gangle, Zooble, Kingler, Kinger, Ragatha, Jax, and Kaufmo. Well, kind of, but, not really. The intro song also glitches, which gives us our first taste of the horror, which I will talk about later. A new character, our main character, shows up, and we're teased by this door that shows up multiple times throughout the episode. That's when the intro ends and blends into the full episode. It's a creative use of an intro, and it also leaves the show open to a new one if they need it later, as Jax comments on them needing to rework it for their new character. Speaking of Jax, I don't want to compare this pilot to Has-Been, but I think this was a little warranted. It was lingering in my mind for like half the episode that Jax felt so similar to Angel Dust. But then I was made aware that they shared the same voice actor, so... He's like the funniest character in this short though, so it's fine. Michael Kovac just plays those little snarky asshole characters really well. Right away, they tell you what's happening behind the mask, so to speak, which is pretty odd to me. I would have expected there to be a bit more episode before they confirm the characters are in like a Sword Art Online situation. I mean, I've never seen it, but the whole trapped in a video game thing is like the first thing everyone learns about SAO. Anyway, Pomni, the clown girl, is essentially our viewpoint for the episode, as she's also learning about the world, characters, and rules. They do a lot of future-proofing by setting up locations and concepts that are untouched by the end of the pilot, which is very smart. Something else they set up is abstracting, which is when the characters lose their shit and become a glitchy... son of a bitch. Glitchy monsters that can't be defeated. Not even by Kane, because he just kinda sends Kaufmo into a room filled with other abstractions. Between the A-plot and the B-plot here, I didn't really care for the B-plot. That might be the idea of it though, as Kane sends them into this tedious quest that they immediately don't want to do. Eventually, Pomni does end up making it through the exit door, but it leads to a whole lot of nothing. Literally. It's the fucking void. There are a couple of hints in there setting up more deep lore, but there's nothing really concrete to talk about now. Like, yeah, it's an office, so I'm sure Kane was part of a coding team or something, and he made a game with someone else whose name starts with the letter A, but that's about it. Also, the season finale will probably have something to do with the void just based on this comment.
Oh no! Someone's venturing out into the void! They'll get totally spoiled!
As the realization of her new life starts to fully sink in, we zoom out on a shot of Pomni losing it to close it out.
You just got weasered.
And that's the Amazing Digital Circus. I've got 5 main points of interest to talk about, and then you can be on your merry way. 1. The visuals are great. I especially love the quality of the models. There are some character shots that really blew me away. This one of Jack's here stood out to me just based on how simple his model is typically, and all the glitching Ragatha scenes were just fucking great. One thing about the visuals that I wasn't too keen on that I think is just a general thing with Glitch is that everything is so damn glossy. The shot at the end with the office gives me a bit more hope that there will be more texture variety. Okay, saying that makes me feel like I'm nitpicking, but you know, it stood out to me, okay? 2. Music and sound. There's a lot of stock cartoon sound effects, which I think are used sarcastically, but I've heard them so many times that they've just kind of lost their charm in general. The music does sound really good though. It's fun and pretty distinct from most shows, so that's a bonus. And the voice acting is, of course, wonderful. I feel like I haven't seen a big pilot like this without really good voice work, but I'm gonna say it every time because it's always impressive. 3. The story is all laid out pretty quickly and clearly, so it hasn't really left me much room to speculate and think about. I don't really know what to expect if a full series does end up getting announced. Would it be more episodic, more linear, a mixture of the two? Like I said though, there's a lot of good setup for future episodes, I just don't see a full season-long storyline. Although the Hell of a Boss pilot set up its series to be more episodic, but you know, they've been leaning more towards the linear side recently, so I don't know. The writing was also pretty good. A lot of the jokes didn't hit me super strongly, but you know, that's just a personal thing. 4. Pomni is a great main character. She has the most human-like design of all of them, which is partially disappointing, I guess. I had a similar problem with Star Wars when I was into that. All these cool-ass alien races, and yet 90% of your main characters are humans? I know it's harder to do in live action, but still, fuck off. But it does make her the most relatable looking character, which lends to her being the freshest of the bunch. I haven't seen enough of Zooble, Gangle, and Kinger to talk about them too much. Kinger being insane leads to some fun moments.
I think it's a nest.
And I actually kind of hope we end up seeing more Gangle masks. But Zooble being gone for most of the episode didn't give me a good feel for their character. Ragatha is essentially the straight man of the cast, but they did hint at some darkness to her, so that was kind of cool. Jax is a little shithead, so he's my favorite character. I kind of forget that Bubbles an actual character, but they do have some good like jokes and visual gags, so it's fine.
I'm on it, boss!
Why are you like this?
And that leaves Kane. Here's the bad opinion. I don't like him. I just find him kind of annoying. He falls into a very specific type of character that I just can't describe. They make me feel tired. And also, they're like an 11 on the Tumblr core scale. Like, Spamton, Alistair, the entirety of the Living Tombstones. That's not a character, but god damn it, it's still an accurate description of them. I found a way to describe it. Theater kid energy. The performative, outspoken, over-exaggerated personality type just doesn't really mesh well with me. 5. Expectations versus reality. On almost all fronts, this pilot met or exceeded my expectations. But the biggest and really only disappointment for me comes from the fact that it just wasn't that creepy. I've seen it described as a psychological horror dark comedy, which to me sounds fucking awesome. But I really only got the dark comedy. And that's saying a lot because I am the littlest bitch when it comes to horror. Any jump scares make me want to stop whatever I'm doing and leave the fucking vicinity. That's not to say that I think jump scares are a good aspect of horror, but still, there wasn't that much there to warrant the big creepy horror conversation surrounding this pilot. Which is a bummer because they already have a lot set up for it, it's just they didn't knock it down. Overall, I did rag on this a bit more than I was expecting, but I genuinely think it was super inspired and incredibly well made. So much so that I'm actually going to come back in to add a couple of things that I really liked. Despite the horror not really being present, this short used the medium of specifically adult animation in a unique way, which is to say that it wasn't overly vulgar. A lot of adult cartoons lean on swearing and sex as a crutch, so I'm really glad that this one's breaking that mold. The animation quality is wonderful. The movements of the characters and certain bits of the environment look really good. Even if I didn't care for the Gloink plot, the pacing made it so that it didn't feel like I was losing interest, which is pretty impressive. And I already talked about Pomni's, but all the character designs are really fun and they stand out super well. Most of the criticism is just personal to me. Absolutely no complaints on the quality here. Anyways, I'm gonna go time travel to the future to tell my kids this was Balan Wonderworld. Adios.